The world has changed. I feel it in the breakdowns. I feel it in the blast beats. I smell it in the mosh pits. Much that once was is lost, for none now live who remember it. It began with the forging of MySpace music. Band pages were given to the epic doom metal nerds, wisest and fairest of all the metalheads. Band pages were also given to the prog death metal kids, great guitars and craftsmen of unlistenable 30-minute-long songs. And band pages were given to the metalcore douchebags, who above all else desired clout. For within MySpace was bound the free platform to reach all metalheads. But they were all of them deceived, for another streaming platform was made. In the shitty house music capital of Stockholm, deep in the land of Sweden, the Dark Lords Daniel Ek and Martin Lorentzon forged a predatory but undeniably easy-to-use streaming platform, and into this platform they poured their cruelty, their malice, and their will to force us all to listen to Drake. One Spotify to rule them all. Welcome to Daily Metal, where every day a different metal album gets dissected for your sadistic listening pleasure. I'm the heavy metal lawyer, Emma, and in this show I'll talk about why the music in these albums is so good and where they fall in the history of music's most wretched genre. On August 25th, 1994, death-laced doom metal band Unholy forged in the depths of Finland their album, The Second Ring of Power. I'll be honest, I'm kind of breaking one of my rules here. I generally only do videos on albums that I like, and I'm not a huge fan of this album. It's not that the music is bad per se, it just isn't that interesting. It's pretty typical 90s doom metal. Plus all the lyrics are just incredibly horny in the nerdiest way possible. Like the track Lady Babylon has the lyrics, "Sweet kiss of hemp, I want to be eternally dazed, forever and ever. Sweet Lady Babylon, in lips she is sweet, of spirit of Venus." Ugh. I swear to God, I went on a date with this guy once and I literally ran away from it. But this album, particularly its title and general nerdiness, does give me an excuse to do a deep dive on the history of metal that I've wanted to do for a while, which is the influence of fantasy author J.R.R. Tolkien on metal music. Long before Viggo Mortensen introduced a whole generation to the concept that some men actually get hotter when they're dirty and sweaty, The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the really nerdy deep cuts like the Silmarillion were the literary refuge of geeky children and the entertainment of stoner adults. Tolkien is by far the most influential author on modern fantasy as a genre, with both his versions of traditional mythology like elves and orcs, and his more original creations like hobbits and wights, being broadly adopted by everything from Pulp Fiction novels to games like Dungeons and Dragons. And of course, all these cultural touchstones, Children Who Don't Fit In, marijuana, and Dungeons and Dragons, all have a lot of overlap with metalheads. So it isn't surprising that Tolkien shows up in practically every subgenre of metal. In one of my earliest videos, I mentioned that Norse black metal legends, Gorgoroth, got their name from the Gorgoroth region of Mordor, where Mount Doom is located. Salvadoran black and thrash metal band Tumulario gets their name from the Spanish translation of white, and have lyrics like, "Sauron's conjuring and the Morgul's witchcraft. The Iron Crown has returned. Our Dark Lord will be reborn." But the two subgenres where you will find Tolkien references the most are doom metal and power metal, which both have always used themes of fantasy since Black Sabbath's debut self-titled album gave us the song Wisdom. For doom metal, there's the band Galadriel in Slovakia,
in the band Lords of the Stone, whose song The Quest is pretty much just a narration of the first 100 pages of the Fellowship of the Ring. Meanwhile, in power metal, the most unabashedly nerdy metal genre, has bands constantly competing for who can make more obscure references to Tolkien and do so in more epic ways. Russian band Epidemi, in English Epidemic, has their album Evska Rukopis, I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that, which is Russian for Elvish manuscript. And yeah, they're an elf-themed band. That's their thing. Which makes me wonder why they decided on the band name Epidemic. Not sure what that has to do with elves. Italian band Windrose has their song, The Breed of Durin, about the dwarves of the Lonely Mountain, which they nerdily refer to by its Sindarin name, Erebor. Hungarian Crossbones have their album Legend of the Four Rings, about the 3 rings of power given to the elves and the 1 ring of Sauron. But all of these are outdone by the legendary album Nightfall in Middle-earth by Blind Guardian, which I'll definitely have to do a full video on at some point, but it's a concept album about Tolkien's book The Silmarillion, which is like his really long book about the mythology of Middle-earth, and it's impossible to read. And Unholy isn't the only Finnish band that likes to reference Tolkien. Symphonic power metal band Battlelore has a whole album titled The Last Alliance, referring to the last alliance of dwarves, elves, and men against Sauron. This isn't a coincidence. Tolkien was heavily inspired by Finnish mythology, which has led Finnish people, apparently including metalheads, to have a deep appreciation for Tolkien's writing. So, do you have a favorite Tolkien reference in metal music? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, please subscribe so you can find out what the metal album of the day is, why it is so brutal, and where it fits in the history of the genre.